Hey guys, DFW's Cars here. I'm here today with the Mazda 3. Really excited about this car. It's going to change a little bit in 2017 on the exterior, like that. And there's going to be some changes to the interior as well. Let's take a walk around, let's take a drive and see what this car is all about. And if it's really one of the last cars in this class, it's a fun little car out in a Civic. Outside, this car really is a stylish looking car. It's gonna get even more so in 2017. I like how the grille isn't as much of a smiling face anymore. I don't want my cars to smile at me or have mustaches or be like that, but it really is a happy looking car. This model is the Touring Edition. It has the 16-inch alloy wheels. One thing stylistically that I'm hoping they do change is the driver's and passenger's doors handles seem a little low on the door when you're reaching for them. So that's one thing that I'd kind of like to see changed in the future. I really like this blue color though. It's kind of a pretty color there. This model does have the moonroof as well. This one came out of Michigan. A lot of the cars come out of either California, Michigan, when they come from the manufacturers. Of course, this has Mazda's famed SkyActiv technology. It is a very efficient car, but it's also really, really fun to drive, as we'll discuss in a little bit. They've hidden the exhaust on this car, which is kind of an interesting touch. Usually the exhausts don't look that great though, so I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. But just overall a very handsome, happy, fun looking little car. Wanted to show you guys, as I always do, how the car looks in the evening. It kind of looks nice. This color becomes a little more subdued, a little more subtle, and everything just gets a little bit nicer there. One thing I forgot to point out earlier when I was doing this was that there is a spoiler back there, which actually gives it a nice effect. It actually kind of elongates the car a little bit. So really love what Mazda is doing with this design language. Very small, very efficient engine in this car. As you can see from the badging there, it does have the SkyActiv technology. About 150 horsepower, 150 foot-pound of torque. This is a very light car though, so as you'll see in the drive part of the review, that's not too bad. But yeah, just overall a nice little efficient engine, which Mazda's known for. Inside and take a look what that inside is all about. Starting out on the driver's door here, there's this carbon fiber look. It looks better in person than it does on the video. Trim in a couple of different places on the interior here, also here on the steering wheel. It's a nice little touch. It's if you don't touch it and from far away, it does look like carbon fiber, so that kind of brings the interior up. High gloss piano black plastic here. Actual metal door handles, that's kind of nice for this class. Plastic looking chrome surrounds there. This one has the 9-speaker Bose audio system, which is really, really nice. And then this one also has the nav system, as well as Mazda's telematics system there. It's pretty nice. There's even some apps for it. This model also has the dual zone climate control on some heated seats there. This is also the manual, which I'll be talking about more in the drive review. This is one of the few cars where I think a manual kind of is worthwhile. It's a good power ratio if you're just starting to learn to drive manual. Switches are actually quite nice there. Very simple, not a whole lot going on. You have the tachometer on the left, big speedo in the middle, and then a trip computer on the side here that has miles per gallon, your range, how fast you've been going, things like that, and of course your fuel gauge and a temperature. One nice touch that's present in a bunch of places on this car is the red stitching along the interior trim here. It's on the seats, it's here on the handbrake, it's on the shifter, and it's even on the steering wheel here, as well as of course the door here as well. That's kind of a nice little touch to make it feel more upscale and nice overall. And then of course there's this black piano gloss. It's meant to look kind of, I guess, like wood trim running across here, which extends to the door over there. So it's a pleasant place, and they are going to update the interior in 2017. So it's definitely above average. It's definitely up to Japanese standards. The Civic might have it beat right now, but then this car, you know, isn't as new as the current generation Civic. So that's to be expected. Let's talk price a little bit on this car. This one is pretty loaded out. Outside of the automatic transmission, it has pretty much all the options available, and this car is about 23 grand. You know, you might be able to get it down to about 20 if Mazda is doing some rebates or something like that at the time. So well priced. Oh, let's talk a little bit about safety features on this car. Fully autonomous car. Wait, no, I have that wrong. There is blind spot monitoring on this car. That's about it. You know, safety wise, but it's a nice feature. Even though it's a small car with good visibility, it's nice just to be able to see that light in either of your mirrors to know if it's clear to go over. So let's see how it drives and see if it lives up to Mazda's zoom zoom reputation. The transmission is pretty easy on this car. You know, I was pleasantly impressed to see they sent a manual transmission to me. Makes it a little more fun. It lets you get a little more power out of it. It's a pretty easy transmission to live with day in and day out, and you know, I like it. I wouldn't complain about this transmission at all. It's a good transmission to learn on. A lot of kids, you know, get Mustangs as their first car, for example, which, you know, especially as in a GT form, that's a lot of power for a new driver. This 150 horsepower, 150 foot-pounds of torque is fast, sporty, fun. Yeah, it's not overpowered where you're gonna, you know, end up trying, you know, killing yourself in the process there. So that's pretty nice. And so it's helped me practice doing, you know, manual shifting again, because I hadn't done that in a few years. Automatics have just gotten so good. I've always, you know, gone with automatics, and a lot of press cars have automatics as well. So is this car easy to drive? Is it livable every day? Surprisingly so. I think it's ironic this car is called the 3, because it really does remind me in a lot of ways of the 3 Series. Form factor, so it's more kind of in size, probably closer to the 2 Series now, especially if they made a sedan. So it's a really fun, tossable little car that is, you know, nice to take in corners. It's definitely not a sports car like, say, the Miata might be considered, but it is definitely one of the sportier sedans out there right now. I mean, even the seats have a lot of bolstering in the side and are very supportive. So when you take this car a little bit fast through one of the turns there, like I'm gonna do now, the tires are fairly thin, so it is a little bit easy to break it free, but it's very predictable. It's very anticipated. It's not sort of like where you're, okay, good, oh no. I'm also gonna be doing a video coming up where I teach my camera assistant how to drive a manual to some degree, so, you know, she knows. And I'm glad I'm doing it in Mazda's car and not mine. What's kind of interesting about this manual transmission, I know I'm talking about that a lot, but it is a cool feature of this car, is that you can tell that some of the other journalists and press folks who have driven it have put it through its paces and definitely, you know, gotten their, I guess for lack of a better word, money's worth out of that transmission. And, you know, almost 11,000 miles into this car's life, you know, some of the shifts aren't quite as smooth as they could be. So it's just parked next to the new Camry, and it's pretty surprising how in the back here the style influences from the Mazda are definitely pretty prevalent that they've carried over, you know, to Toyota there. As to trunk space on this guy, there is a trunk. The seats fold down, so there's lots of space. You can put lots of your things back. So as you guys can see, it is getting dark out, and my day with this car is coming to an end. So I wanted to give you guys my kind of last thoughts on it. And you know what it was like having spent really the week with it, but I was just out reviewing it hardcore today, you know, driving it around. It is a great first car for any kid. It is a great, like, first new car for that. And on that note, you know, it is just such a great car. I think I'd be happy, you know, just having one of these in my driveway. In the Miata, Mazda, you know, perfected the very mini sports car, you know, and just gave it all the right qualifications. They've done the same thing in the small sedan here. This is the benchmark. There's a reason why Car and Driver has this car, you know, on their at the top of their 10 best list all the time, because it's just that good. And I can't argue with that. It's very hard to find fault with this car. It's a very likable little car. So until next time, guys, drive on.